Hey, Chapel students. I hope you're having a great week so far. I'm so glad you're here tonight, too, because this is the spot to find community with other students just like you. If you're looking to grow in your faith, you've come to the right place. House parties are designed to unpack the theme from Motion Night and go deeper into some concepts in Scripture together. And tonight, I want to give a special shout out to the Queens Mill House Party because tonight is the first night that all three of their brand new leaders are together for the first time. And I'm so stoked for you guys over there. Thank you for investing in teenagers, showing up, and making them a priority in your lives. You are making a difference. And I want to give another big old shout out to Blakeney and Thomas Hartka because they're launching the Bailey Bridge Middle School and Manchester High School house party tonight. So every single student over there, you're there for the very first night. You guys are my heroes. We set out to start 2 brand new house parties this semester and expand across town and new nights of the week, and look at what God is doing. You're all playing a part in that, and you're all making history. You're setting the foundation for future students to come in to something that you have helped set up. I'm so proud of all of you, every single person at a house party listening to this tonight. And I got to tell you, I am loving this theme for October. Soundtracks is all about the phrases playing on repeat in our minds, the good and the bad things that we tell ourselves, or the things that other people have said to us or about us. Have you listened to the latest episode of the Chapel Students Podcast yet? You have to hear it. There's a link for it in our bio on Instagram. Pastor Nate over at Scott's Edition Chapel Students and Christina Ramsey, one of the leaders down there, and myself, we all talk about soundtracks that played in our minds when we were younger, and we dive deeper into the book called Your New Playlist, which is what this whole series has been based on. Now seriously, go home and check that out. Now, I love the Bible, not just because I'm a pastor, but because I'm convinced that it truly speaks to every issue we will ever face, and it provides clear guidance, next steps, direction, and ultimately hope for our lives. And in the book of Philippians, Paul gives us some real practical steps on how to change the narrative in our minds. He says in Philippians 4, verse 8, now Paul's writing to a church in a place called Philippi, and the people who live there are called Philippians. So in case this is all brand new to you, that's why it's called Philippians. So in the 4th chapter, verse 8, Paul says this, "And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise." Now, if you imagine your mind is like a messy room, it may help you with this whole concept of soundtracks. That's kind of been an illustration that's been floating around in my head as I've been trying to think about cleaning up my head. This whole concept of soundtracks can kind of be like compared to a messy room. When I read what Paul wrote, I imagine a messy room. And I'm sure you've got a messy bedroom at home, and I know you hate cleaning it. Growing up, I would always clean my friend's room. Like across the street, I would always go over to his house, and then if his mom was like, "Time to clean your room," I'd be like, "I'll help, I'll do it." And then he would sometimes just sit and watch, or he'd like do a little bit. I'd end up doing a little bit more than he would. I don't know why. It never made sense to me, but maybe it was easier to clean his over my own because it wasn't my mess. If there was one easy way to clean up my messy room, I would do it. A huge bin to throw everything in and get it out of there. Hire a crew to come in and remove everything. Whatever it takes, I'd do it. I believe Paul gives us some steps on how to clean up the room in our minds. So many of us, so many of you, adults and students. Sometimes I'm talking to students, but this whole concept goes across the board for adults and students. So many of us are stressed out. We're anxious. We're preoccupied with so many things. We're distracted. We're not fully present in conversations. People are talking to us and we're barely paying attention because we're looking across the room, or we're thinking about our homework due the next day, or the project we have to turn into work, whatever. We're absent-minded. We're overthinking. Man, we are a culture. We are professional overthinkers. And our minds are going absolutely bonkers in our heads. And I'm so grateful that Paul so lovingly tells us how we can clean up the room in our heads. How does the Bible say we ought to think? What should we be dwelling on? How should we correct our thoughts? Man, Paul says to fix our thoughts on what is this. Now, think about it. Paul says to fix our thoughts on what is true, honorable, right, pure, lovely, admirable, and finally, things that are excellent and worthy of praise. I want you to get real with yourself tonight. Seriously, wherever you're watching this, whatever, if you're on the floor, you're on the couch, you're sitting on a chair, a table, I want you to sit still and close your eyes. I'm going to repeat that list again because I know your mind is already thinking about something else, which proves my point. Your mind has wandered onto something else. You're already thinking about some other thing. And I'm going to list those words again, and I want you to think about these words. Truly think about them. Close your eyes. Think about these words. True, honorable, right, pure, lovely, admirable, and finally, things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Now, you can keep your eyes closed, or you can open them, but I would encourage you to keep them closed. Think about the past week since we met at Motion Night. Think about the thoughts that have been running circles around your head. Think about the thoughts that have been dominating your mind, that have been keeping you up at night, that have been distracting you from studying, that have gotten in the way of your relationships and your friendships. Are they honorable? Are they true? Are they right? Are they pure? Are those thoughts, are they lovely? Are they admirable? Are they things that are excellent and worthy of praise? Chapel students, I gotta tell you, if your thoughts don't match up, like if your soundtracks aren't true, aren't honorable, aren't right, aren't pure, aren't lovely, aren't admirable, aren't worthy of praise or excellent, then they've gotta go. You gotta stop thinking about them. Paul's very clear here. He's not like, hey, you might want to think about this, or hey, like, here's a suggestion. No, he's telling us to fix our thought. He says one final thing. Hey, before I finish writing you guys this letter, one final thing I want you to think about. Make sure your mind is dwelling and totally concentrated on things that are true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable, excellent and worthy of praise. Hey, there's one thing that I know is all of those things, and that's Jesus. And that doesn't mean that you have to think about Jesus all the time. But Jesus is a really easy thing to think about that checks off all of those criteria. Is the conversation around the lunch table, on the bus, in the locker room, before practice, out on the field, wherever, is that conversation matching up to what Paul is telling us to think about? I don't know. I don't know your situation. I don't know what's going on for you. But I do know that the soundtracks that are playing in your mind, if you're not happy with them, if they aren't true, helpful, or kind, here's an easy way to make sure that they do become true, that they do become helpful, that they do become kind. We have the power to change our mindset, to think about things that are totally different than the world around us. Because let me tell you, you take just a little step and you look at what the world around you, your friends, your circles, the people you surround yourself with, you look at what they're talking about and what they're thinking about, more often than not, it's none of those things. It's not true. It's definitely not honorable. It's probably not right. It's definitely not pure. It's probably not lovely. It's not popular to talk about things that are admirable. It's popular to talk about things that are unadmirable. Things that are excellent and worthy of praise, we actually put excellence and things that are worthy of praise on the wrong objects. So you could be countercultural. You could be a real leader in your circle. You could be a real leader in your friend group, in your class, on your team, in your family, by changing the way you think, by playing a new soundtrack in your mind and make it loud enough for everyone else around you to hear, because it will change everything if you decide to dwell on things that are true, honorable, right, pure, lovely, admirable, and finally, things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Chapel students, I love you guys. I'm so glad that you decided to give a night of your week to this house party to grow in your faith and grow in community with other students. I'm so, so proud of you. Hey, don't forget, we meet up again next week for another house party, so make sure you come right back to this house, same time, same place. We love you. We'll see you there. Have a great week.